Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of the Discordancy Podcast. Hello! I'm back. I'm back. Anyways, I know the sound of, this thing of my audio sounds a bit bad. I'm turning on noise suppression because the surroundings are incredibly noisy. I think you can hear a chicken, going. "Ah!" You might hear a chainsaw. You might hear someone singing in the background. I am really, really sorry about that. Anyways, today's discussion is going to be an incredibly controversial one. I know I also did this thing last year where I talked about something incredibly polarizing, and I'm doing it once again. So today I will be talking about the war on drugs. More specifically, the arrest of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's due to the war on drugs. Now, me personally, I am in favor, but so many Filipinos are against. Why is that? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. We will have 3 key points. What led up to the arrest of Rodrigo Duterte? What are some key arguments? And what are my counter arguments? I could say that I know a bit, or I know enough. I know the same amount of information about this arrest as do the vast majority of Filipinos. So we're just on the same page here. If you call me an uninformed person, you also are most likely an uninformed person. So, let's not make any judgments here left, right, and center and jump to conclusions, and let's actually hear ourselves out. So now, let us begin with number 1. What led up to Rodrigo Duterte's arrest? So, I think it was on the 11th of March. Let me check. When was he arrested? Let's check. When was... No, not elected. Arrested. There you go. The 11th of March 2025. It was, I think, the early morning, or just during the day. He was suddenly arrested by the International Criminal Court through Interpol. It was President Bongbong Marcos who made the discretion to, or who approved the arrest of former President Duterte. That is basically what happened. On the 11th of March 2025, Duterte was suddenly arrested, and he's now in the Netherlands, facing, the court, the International Criminal Court. Why did Bongbong Marcos do this? We can't say, or I can't say for sure why, but a lot of people think it's because it's politically motivated. I guess it is. The timing could not have been more, the arrest could not have been more well-timed than this. This all began with a feud against Vice President Duterte when she threatened to kill our president. Well, I did not elect the president, but you get the point. She is threatening to assassinate the most powerful individual in this country. I guess you can hear raining now, which is why I turned on noise suppression. So that is basically what has led up to this arrest against former President Duterte. Now, second, let us check some arguments. let us check out some arguments against former President Duterte's arrest. Oh boy, it's getting louder. Like, just look at how loud it is. Huh? Huh? It's getting louder, I know. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Low. Okay, I think I have turned on noise suppression again. I think this is a better one. Yeah, so, you know, yeah. I think you can still hear a bit of the rain, but just bear with me. Just bear with me. Anyways, I asked Gemini for 20 arguments about against Rodrigo Duterte's arrest. So it has listed 20 of them, and I'm going to be reading them out right now. This is not the best way to, you know, write arguments about the arrest of Duterte, but you know, I can only do so much. Okay, let's begin with number 1, political motivation. This argument centers on the belief that the legal actions are not solely based on impartial justice, but are influenced by political agendas. The complex dynamics between political factions in the Philippines, especially the well-known tensions between the Marcos and Duterte families, fuel this perspective. Now, the second and third points that are in this video, I will be, you know, putting them on the same thing, because I will read the argument and I will give my own counter arguments based on my understanding about their arguments. Political motivation. Okay, this one I can agree a bit. Like, the timing of the arrest is impeccable. Duterte and the Dutertes and Marcoses are supposed to be this one united faction that will rule the entire nation, or that will rule the top parts, the top jobs of the entire nation. I don't know what has happened. Actually, I do. Vice President Duterte started it. Of course, she threatened to assassinate the president, the first lady, and the House Speaker. So, you know, not a good look. However, there's also the fact that, let me check, there we go. I can now see a date in which there it is. On the 10th of February 2025, the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC applied for an arrest warrant against Mr. Duterte for the crimes against humanity of murder, torture, and rape. The ICC pretrial chamber assessed the material submitted by the prosecution and found reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Duterte is individually responsible as an indirect co-perpetrator for the crimes against humanity of murder allegedly committed in the Philippines between the 1st of November 2011 and the 16th of March 2019. The warrant of arrest against Mr. Duterte was issued by the chamber as secret on the 7th of March 2025 and reclassified as public on the 11th of March 2025. On the 12th of March 2025, Mr. Duterte was surrendered to the International Criminal Court after being arrested by the authorities of the Republic of the Philippines in accordance with the warrant arrest. Now this comes from, let me just show you, hold on. This comes from the official website of the International Criminal Court. I'm just reading an excerpt here, and look at that. Yes, I am just reading here. And it also says at the last part, the initial appearance of Mr. Duterte took place on the 14th of March 2025. Mr. Duterte appeared in the hearing via video link as authorized by the chamber. Now, you can say all you like that it's politically motivated, but I don't know if it actually is, because in early or mid-February, early to mid-February, like it's the 10th of February, the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC applied for an arrest warrant and found reasonable grounds to arrest him. Then, on the 7th of March, it was secret, but was reclassified as public on the 11th of March, the very same day that Duterte was arrested by the authorities. I do not know if that is politically motivated. Like, sure, the nation, let me just, well, sure, the country or the Philippines can refuse at its own discretion. But again, refusing to arrest someone who has so much evidence of doing a crime, of committing a crime, is a bit disrespectful and could crumble could be unprecedented for a sovereign nation to simply just refuse. Like, sure, Putin does not have, or sure, Putin has an arrest warrant, but he's still not arrested yet. You know why? Because he's still the leader. There is no one higher above Putin that can surrender Putin to the authorities. So, I have also heard that argument that Netanyahu, Putin, or the other leaders have not been arrested, but Duterte was. You know why? It's because it's purely circumstantial. You know, like, Duterte is now quite powerless. He's pretty popular, sure, but pretty powerless as well. So, politically motivated, I wouldn't say that with full confidence, because I just stated my point. I don't have the confidence, and there is not much evidence that the arrest was politically motivated, because this has been years in the making. This was long, like, the investigations against Duterte's war on drugs happened long before Marcos became president. I don't think it is politically motivated. Next, timing concerns. Again, I have already tackled this before, but let me just read this next one out loud. The timing of the arrest or any legal action is crucial. Critics argue that the timing may be strategically chosen to coincide with political events, aiming to maximize political impact rather than purely seeking justice. Look, two things can be true at the same time. Sure, maybe Marcos did this to, score political points in the upcoming midterm election. Sure, he could do that. But also, he has arrested someone who has compelling evidence against him. Like, there is no, way, there is no way to just backtrack and go, maybe it's this evidence that I'm being presented here is not true. Because it is. We see it, we just witness it with our own eyes. Like, come on, like, really. The timing, yeah, sure. But, it's a bit flimsy. The timing argument is a bit flimsy. Next, national sovereignty. This argument emphasizes the principle that a nation has the right to govern its own affairs without external interference. Many Filipinos believe that the Philippines should handle its own legal matters, viewing the ICC's involvement as an encroachment on their sovereignty. Encroachment! Hey! Encroachment from Gemini is crazy. Hold on. Let me go. Someone has to. Like, come on. Maybe we can just let them slide. Because they're killing tens of thousands of civilians. Just go, and then just go, I am serious. Really? No, you cannot be that stupid. Like, there's no way you can just go, I don't know, let our courts arrest him. We can't do that. Duterte has been a former president for nearly 3 years now. If he was going to be arrested by the authorities, like the local authorities, and be held in a local court or, the Supreme Court of the Philippines, it should have happened nearly 3 years ago. That argument is very, very flimsy and very weak, by the way, when you think for just 2 seconds that his name is now, like, people now call him former president. Does that give you an idea? Yes, he is no longer president. He does not hold any public office. He is not a senator, he is not a representative, he is not a vice president, and he does not hold any kind of office in what would be the government cabinet. He does not hold a position. God. The only thing Duterte is now is a private citizen. Just like most of us. Most of us are private citizens, and so is me. So, does that excuse him from the law? No, absolutely not. Oh my God, no. because he's incredibly popular and this big, this big guy who has killed tens of thousands of civilians, it does not mean. A wise man once said, just because it's popular doesn't mean it is being okay. Exhibit A, former President Duterte. Like, come on! Like, really? Really? Oh, hold on. It's just sad. That's just sad. It's a sad argument from the Filipino people. Oh boy, we're already nearly 20 minutes in. I thought this was going to be a short one. Well, I digress. Next is the ICC jurisdiction dispute. Okay, this one is quite a bit, Let's just read it out loud. The Philippines' withdrawal from the Rome Statute creates a legal gray area. The debate revolves around whether the ICC retains jurisdiction over alleged crimes committed while the Philippines was a member. Legal experts hold differing views on this complex matter. I know. Okay. This one is pretty easy to answer because while the ICC is not a member while the Philippines is not a member of the ICC, the Philippines is still a member of Interpol. And Interpol has partnered up with the International Criminal Court. Like these international organizations don't just randomly arrest former heads of state for no reason whatsoever. Like, if they're going to do such a thing, like arresting a former leader, they have to do it with a lot of evidence and a lot of reasons, a lot of logical reasons behind that arrest. That's a pretty easy answer for, let's move on to the next. I don't even think we need 10 points, we need 20 points for this because we're already nearly half an hour into this. Next, the potential for social unrest. Here we go. Duterte commands a large and passionate following. He does. His arrest could ignite strong reactions from his supporters, potentially leading to protests, civil disobedience, or even violence, destabilizing the nation. Do you know what happened when social unrest? Social unrest. I think that should ring a bell to me. Social unrest. When was there a time when civilian social unrest was at an all-time high? I'll give you a hint. Martial law. Martial law. Yes, the thing that happened under the current president's father's watch. Martial law. If there's going to be social unrest in this nation, that could happen again. There could be martial law in the entire country because of what has happened. Come on, maybe don't do social unrest. Maybe just do a peaceful protest, even though you're absolutely wrong. Sure, you are entitled to your opinion. But you're still wrong. You are still wrong. Okay, Don't give me those. No, you're still wrong. If you want to do social unrest, do it right. Next, regional relations strain. The Philippines' relationships with its Southeast Asian neighbors are delicate. Some nations in the region have expressed reservations about the ICC's jurisdiction, and Duterte's arrest could create diplomatic tensions. Now, we have a lot of arguments that are in favor of Duterte's arrest. We don't have to drag our our neighbors in Southeast Asia to this arrest. Right? Sure, they can have an opinion on their own, but it should not hinder our diplomatic relations with them. Like, if, let's say, we have, a strong relationship with, to stick with Southeast Asia, let's go with Singapore. If Singapore has reservations or is quite against the arrest of Duterte, we maybe should just agree to disagree, and we should just continue our relations. Like, yeah, we could just do that and just continue our relations, because Duterte's arrest is a national matter. It's a local matter. It does not have to involve other sovereign nations, just the other international organizations, Interpol and the ICC. Next, ICC politicization concerns. This argument questions the impartiality of the ICC. Some perceive the court as being influenced by political biases, potentially targeting certain individuals or nations while overlooking others. I have also actually tackled this earlier when I mentioned Netanyahu and Putin. I don't think the International Criminal Court is overlooking other nations or individuals, because the International Criminal Court's job is to hold individuals accountable to an international level, where most of, if not the entire world, condemns that particular individual, which is why Duterte has been arrested by the ICC. If we are not going to hold him accountable, someone has to, and someone will. Next, due process concerns. Due process. Let me just check the arguments 11 to 20. Okay, we could also tackle the last 10 in a bit of detail. Next is due process concerns. Due process guarantees a fair and impartial legal process. Critics worry that the proceedings against Duterte may be rushed or politically motivated, jeopardizing his right to a fair trial.